we're heading to Motown for some Saturday night, 8:15 Eastern time action. The Detroit Lions, Denver Broncos. Denver playing some good football, especially on the defensive end. I was surprised what they did last week, pretty much dominating LA on the road. They're right in the thick of things. It's serious panic mode to me if the Lions lose this game in front of their home fans on a Saturday night after getting waxed in Chicago. I am curious to see how Detroit, playing at home in primetime, bounces back and looks against a Denver team who really has surged since after week 4. And to me, if they lose this game, it is serious issues. Yeah. Despite Denver playing good football, serious issues.
Yeah, Jared Goff has been crumbling the past few weeks. He has not looked anything like the quarterback we've seen.
A Denver team who's looked fantastic against Mahomes and Allen and Justin Herbert. This is not what you want to see if you're Jared Goff right now. Is a team playing defense like they're playing defense?
No, the Denver defense, they're forced. I mean, and that's the scary part for the Lions here. The Denver defense, we keep saying this turnover rate that they're on can't continue, but they've forced 2 or more turnovers in 5 of the last 6 games. That's what they're doing. You know, the numbers might not jump off the page, but they're forcing turnovers. 6 of the last 7 games under 215 yards. 6 sacks last week against the Chargers. That's how you make Goff make mistakes. If you get after Jared Goff, turn him over. I'm liking the Broncos.
And if Denver's doing this against, like I just said before, Mahomes and Herbert and Allen, who's Goff?
Well, here's the thing though. If the Lions have Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, I think that might be the best 1-2 punch in the game. Guess who has the worst rushing defense in football?
Denver.
The Denver Broncos. That's where, if I'm a Lions fan, I'm going to lean on those 2 guys who have both been phenomenal. When they're healthy, each of them should be a starting running back in the NFL. They're a great pair. I'm going to try and run down the Denver throat. Zach, it looks like you have something to say.
I feel like that would be skewed on the fact that we did put up 400 yards against them.
You know what?
I was going to say, that's that Broncos-Dolphins game was when we all found out who A-Chain was.
Yeah.
I mean, that was crazy. I mean, Gibbs and Montgomery is right now as good at 1-2 as it really gets. It's thunder and lightning. Reminds me of Willie Parker and Jerome Bettis back in the day.
Ziggy, what were you going to say?
I was going to repeat Zach's point. We are talking about a team that just held Austin Eckler to 50 last week, right?
Yes.
I think actually the weakness isn't the run defense as much as it's the quarterback defense. Ask a Broncos fan what the 2 most disappointing games of the year were for them. They're going to tell you it was the Commanders game and the Dolphins game. Games where quarterbacks who are good at sitting back and getting comfortable and delivering passes, Sam Howell and Tua, carved them up. So the Lions, I think, are going to come in with the same game plan, right? And of course, Dan Campbell knows his former teacher, Sean Payton, perfectly well. I think that's going to be what they're going for here. So the question, as you say, is just, can you get Javonte Williams going? Force Jared Goff to get a little bit uncomfortable and make him get rid of the ball quickly.
It's funny because we're talking about these stats and games from before the Broncos win streak. So Broncos fans are going to be sitting back watching this going yeah, but have you seen this the past 6 weeks? And they're totally right.
They're entitled.
It started off kind of cute, this whole Broncos run. Good for Sean Payton, good for Russ turning it around. But now, even though they're the 9 seed, they have a legitimate shot to win the AFC West. That's actually
they're sitting
actually
a game behind
play.
The Chiefs. That's crazy.
It's both sides of the ball are doing this. The Chiefs have a pretty light schedule, which is disappointing. They're at New England versus the Raiders versus the Bengals at the Chargers. You expect them to win out there, but with one slip up, the Broncos have Detroit, New England, the Chargers, and the Raiders. Very similar schedule to Kansas City. If the Broncos win this game, they should win out. And then we're talking about one mistake by a Chiefs team that's been sluggish. And if the Broncos won the division after their start to the year.
That would be so unbelievable. What were those division odds when they were 0-4 or 0-3?
It's going to be pretty tough for the Broncos to get the divisional record tiebreaker. I think that's really the problem.
I was playing around with it. There's a certain, I believe that the Chiefs lost to, can't remember who it was. Maybe it was the
They
Chargers.
absolutely need to lose to the Raiders and the Chargers. Otherwise, there's basically no.
Regardless, just the fact that the Broncos are in this right now, is what's like it's mind blowing, honestly.
Yeah, it is. And like, I mean, there's a serious chance they get the 6 or 7 seed.
Look, I'm a little concerned too. The Detroit defense. I know that Jared Goff has got a lot of the attention on this show, but in the past 5 games, they've allowed 26 or more points in each of them.
If there's a vicious odor, by the way, it's my feet. I have no socks on. I have slides.
I can't even.
I smell it. Maybe hopefully you don't smell it.
Hopefully you don't have to keep talking about it.
Zach's just shaking his head right now.
Hopefully you don't smell, but I smell it.
I mean, look, here's the funny thing about this, right? Is you can go back to like week 7, week 8 when the Lions were entering their bye, and you had the Broncos at like 3-5, still smarting from the Dolphins lost, and you had the Lions 6-2, ready to conquer the world. Now, again, the teams are going in different directions. It feels like the Lions are slipping and the Broncos are surging.
The Lions are like the anti-Lions of last year. They started off really hot, and now they're just crumbling to the finish.
If you look at this game a couple of weeks ago, like Broncos at Lions, I'm taking the Lions easily. That's not the case anymore, though.
No, I think Denver, like, momentum matters.
And I usually do like these. I think the Lions win this game at home, and I usually do like these spots where they're your awful loss. You're a team with expectations who are awful loss against a team you shouldn't have lost to in a pretty bad way. And the team you're playing, in this case, Denver, just won a big game on the road. So most of the time, the team coming home, they're hungrier. They're going to want it more. But Denver's fighting for their playoff
I just think Denver's better.
Like, I think Detroit's probably better than Denver.
Like, I just think Denver's...
Let's not forget Sean Payton is fighting for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, no, he is.
Yeah,
he is.
No, like they're fighting for these things.
The Lions, to me right now, when you look at their team, the shiniest thing is the record. There's not much that I look at on Detroit. They have some fun playmakers. Like, Amon-Ra's great. I love Gibbs. I think Montgomery's a great complimentary piece. Aiden Hutchinson. A lot of really good players. But as a whole, with the way they're playing, I think that you look at Detroit and go, yeah, they're 9-4. They must be really good. They're not playing like a 9-4 team. Denver's playing like the 9-4 team. The Lions look like the 6-7 squad. And that's why I think, or was it 7-6, whatever they are. That's why I'm sitting back here thinking that Denver's going to go into Detroit. It's not going to be like Denver won't blow them out or anything.
And Cortland Sutton's been
a monster.
Amazing too.
He's been unbelievable. He's been exactly what you thought you had in him last year.
Yeah, when drafted in fantasy in the third, fourth round. Yeah.
You know, he's been great.